Hello, welcome to our latest general contractor webinar. I see people joining. So let's get started. Just wanted to introduce who will be presenting today. We have Darius, our lead product manager with us. He's the mastermind behind a lot of the new features that you're seeing on the GC side, general contractor side. Thank you, Darius, for being with us today.
Not a problem. Glad to be here.
And I'm Eduardo Masal. I'm a product marketing manager here at PlanHub. I've been with the company for about 2 years and very excited to be part of this conversation. So before we move forward, just wanted to ask you a quick question. We have noticed that sometimes managing relationships with subcontractors, especially when it comes to the bidding part of the relationship, can be tricky. So we're going to put a question up in the screen. What you will see is a pop-up, and you can answer the question on the pop-up. If the pop-up doesn't show up, please feel free, again, to use the question and answer to provide us with the answer that you see that would be more correct. So this is the question. How often do you need to follow up on subcontractor bids due to lack of clarity or missing line items? And let's activate the question. All right, you should be able to see a poll pop up on your screen. The options are that you need to follow up with them 20% of the time, 50% of the time, 70% of the time or more, and never. Subcontractors always deliver clear and easy to compare bids. So I don't know if anybody's going to choose option 4 there. All right, so 75% of respondents have answered that they need to follow up on subcontractors due to problems with their bids 50% of the time. So basically, 1 every 2 bids need to be reviewed or follow up. So there is not an additional poll question, but I was wondering how much time does it consume to do that, to go back to those bids and get the information right. If you want to, you can answer in the Q&A, but I just want to leave that question there because this is how some general contractors have described their relationship with subcontractors and the challenge on getting bids in the bidding process is like, well, herding cats. Is that your experience? You can share it with us in the Q&A as well if you want to. So luckily, there is a better way. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Imagine a world where you can generate cost items using CSI codes that you can templatize, right? Templates that you can use yourself multiple times, but at the same time, you can share with subcontractors. So they have a very clear structure of how to present a better bid. And then compare all that on one place, right? One next to the other. You can compare your baseline or your standard that you create with the subcontractor bids next to each other. Is this too good to be true? Well, I will let Darius answer that question.
It's not too good to be true. What we've created for you is a feature we call baseline. And the intent of baseline is to give you the capability to create essentially an estimate for the project yourself, where you can break it down using CSI codes. And if you'd like to, you can even enter prices, quantities, and things like that. And if you don't want to use particular CSI codes, you can enter your own. Once you've created it, okay, you can share that with subs. So when you say share with subs, subs will get a notification that you're sharing a baseline with them. And when they open it up, it opens it up in what, from the sub point of view, is we call it bid builder, right? And what this enables subs to do is it saves them a lot of time, right? Because they don't have to go figure out, hey, what do I have to put in here? You've already done the work. You've done some of the legwork for them. They can modify and add to it if they want to, and they will put in their own pricing. One point that I'd like to make is, if you do use it to estimate out the project yourself, they will not see your pricing. So you will not share your pricing with them. You will share the quantities if you put quantities, but they have to provide their own pricing. Once they've done that, they can submit that bid back to you, okay? And you will see that bid in two different ways. You can either see it as the whole entire bid, or you can see it in a tool we have called Bid Leveler, and you can compare that sub's bid to your own estimates that you did in baseline side by side. So this would gives you the capability to provide subs with a tool that will enable you to get better quality bids back from subs. All right, having said that, this is the part of the demo where actually I'm going to share my screen and show you how it's done. So what I've done here, I've already gone into a project where I have a lot of trades posted here, and everything works by trades. So if you are one of our general contractors that comes in posts projects, you're familiar with this particular page. It's your project details page. There's a CTA here that once you create a baseline, and I will show you the creation part as well, it'll say start a baseline. And similarly, when you go to Bid Leveler, you can also view a baseline that you've created. Now, in this particular case, I've already gone and created a baseline, and let's just go ahead and jump into it and see what a baseline looks like. When I go start a baseline, I can choose to bring in all the CSI level sections based on the trades that I said is required on that particular job. Okay. And then I can go in, and as you can see here for finishes, I put in a CSI code. I can add another one, for example, here. I can put in the type. I can either use one of the existing CSI codes that we have, or I can put in my own custom one. So I'll just type in custom. I hope I spelled it right. I can put in my own description, and then I can make a few choices. Whether or not this particular line item will carry a tax that will get passed on or not, I'll make that choice. In this case, I will say no. I will put in a quantity. Let me put in 20, and I will put in a unit price. Let me put in 60. And since this is labor, you automatically select units of measures, which could be hours, days, weeks, or months. Now, since this is 20 and 60, I'm going to put hours. That's what makes sense in this particular case. I'll add the plus button, and you see that line item got added to finishes. Similarly, I've added cost items to metals, masonry, and concrete. And once I go down here and I click save, okay, I can come back to Bid Leveler, and if I go to finishes, you'll see there's that one labor item that I put in there for $1,200. Whenever you create a baseline for every CSI section that you get the appropriate baseline card that you created essentially in baseline in those CSI sections. Now, when subs use your baseline and submit a bid back to you, you get to compare their bid against yours. One thing that you can do also in Bid Leveler is if a sub has submitted a bid and you want to see the whole entire bid, you can click on this button here, and it'll open up the sub's bid to you, and you can see it all in one place. You can message the sub. You can download this as a PDF file. Now, what I like to do is to go and show you how I can create a baseline for a new project and share that with subs. So I'll go to a different project. Notice this project has no cards because I haven't created a baseline yet. The CTA here says start a baseline. On this particular project, I've only added one specific type of trade, which is finishes, painting, right? And I'll demonstrate how we automatically load trades based on the required trades you posted on the project. So when you go to create a new baseline, okay, you have the option of saying, no, I want to start from scratch, meaning I don't want to see anything there. I want to enter all the CSI sections myself. Or you say, yes, open the sections for me automatically based on the trades that I selected. So I'll click that. And now it's loading up the trades, right? So I actually added more trades here than I remembered. But you can see all the trades that are required on that project are now listed out. And if there was a specific PlanHub trade that mapped to a specific CSI cost code, we have automatically entered those in for you. So you can scroll all the way down and see all the trades that have been put into here. Now, to make it easy for you, you can select which particular trade you want to see. If there's a bunch of them and you just want to see like one particular one, in this case, I want to see finishes. And you see, I basically filtered down to only finishes in this case. One of the things that I can do now is I can go in, click the edit button, and I can choose the item type, material, says gypsum plastering. I can say if it's taxable. You don't have to put in the description if you don't want to. You can choose if it's taxable or not. I'll say no. And maybe I put in the quantity here, 40. These are just examples that I'm putting in, and I'll just say like $10. Unit of measure, since this is plastering, it's perhaps square feet. So I put square feet, and I'll hit save. When I do that, you see everything gets totaled up down here automatically. Okay. Now, why don't I just go ahead and click save on this? And now I'll go to bid leveler. I go to that specific project. You see, once I start creating a baseline, we get these cards that start showing up here. The reason that there's 0 is because you haven't entered anything in yet. However, if I go to finishes, the one that I just entered, you see the pricing that I put in there is right there. Once you go to the bid leveler, you can also go back to edit the baseline by clicking this CTA here. Now, I'm going to go back to my baseline and I'm going to share this baseline with subs, and I'll show you what that looks like. I have the option to share this baseline with every subcontractor that received an ITB, if I wanted to do that. I can select from, or I could select to choose specific lists that I created when I posted the project. As a Premier GC, you have the capability to create lists of subs, and then you can select one of those lists or multiple lists and then share with them. Or I could send it to a specific sub by putting their email address and click share. What happens now, the subs will get a notification that a baseline has been shared with them. And I'm just going to, I have to switch to a different screen to show that to you. Bear with me while I do that. Okay, I'm going to bring this screen up. Okay, you see, when I shared that baseline with the sub, a sub received a notification that a GC has shared a baseline with you. And what they see here is, hey, you have specific trades at your company. Let's say, for example, you're into finishes, you're into masonry, you're into carpentry. Do you want to only load the trades that are specific to you, or do you want to load all the trades that the GC said they needed? In this particular case, I say my trades. Okay. I set this particular sub up such that they are only doing finishes, for example, painting. Okay, so they only get to see the finishes section here. As I mentioned, they don't see your pricing. Remember, I put in one particular item in here that had pricing in it, and they don't get to see that, but they do get to see what you have requested. For example, you see this one, I had put in 40 quantity. They see the quantity, they see exactly what was needed. Now they can put their own unit pricing. Let's say we do it 65. Now I'll just clean this up a little bit. There was a lot of cost items in this one. Maybe this particular subs is only interested in sending that one. Just 3 more clicks. You guys are like, Darius, what are you doing to me? All right, so here we go. Now that the sub wants to submit this back to you, right? They say select GCs. Oops, sorry, I have to hit the save button. That out of the way. Set that. I have bitten by the save button. Sorry, my bad. Select GCs. Now I get to select you that submitted this baseline, and I get to review it as a sub, and then I get to submit it. All right. Now I'm going to have to switch windows again because I'm going to go back to the GC. Right. So now that the sub has submitted a bid back to me, I'll go to that particular project. And there we go, finishes. See, before you had put this particular cost item down in finishes, you shared your baseline with the sub entered in their own, and they sent it back to you. Okay, and you can see there's a major difference between their bid and your bid. Okay, so now you can ask yourself, wow, they're way off. Why is that? So now you can message the sub from here and ask them more questions. If you didn't have your own baseline, you would only have the subs bids to compare the subs to each other. With your own baseline, you can see how far off they are based on your own projections of what the cost ought to be. And that is essentially how you can leverage baseline to create estimates for yourself, share those with the subs for them to submit bids back to you, and then you can compare those bids against yours and other subs that have responded back. Back to you, Eduardo.
Yes. Do we want to say anything about creating templates with the...
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Eduardo. All right, so let's go back to baselines here. Anytime you're in one of these projects, you can click view my baseline. You go in there. Let's say, for example, this is advanced auto parts, and you often bid on advanced auto parts projects, and they're very much similar. What you can do is you can click save this to a template. Go down there. You can say save as new, give it a name. Advanced auto parts template. You can give it a description. You can click save, right? What happens next is I'm going to just basically cancel this baseline out. It says, hey, if you do that, you'll lose everything. I'll say, fine, not a problem. Because I'm just going to show you how you can load it from a template. I'll just say cancel it. I'll just say start from scratch here. Starting from scratch is a blank baseline. I'm going to say use a template. And you see I have advanced auto parts, the one that I just saved. And it's just going to basically load the template. And then once it loads the template, you can go ahead and add all the line items you want into it, and then send it out to the subs. So if you had also saved, let's see, go to finishes. If you had saved items in the template previously, pricing information, it'll be there as well. but you can always have a chance to edit to that. Let's say I can make this 40. I can hit save, and you can essentially use these templates over and over again to create different baselines for different projects and then share them out with subs. All right, Eduardo, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Darius. I really like that template feature because it really allows you to do the work once and then use that work over and over and over. That's kind of the exciting part of creating templates. So with that, let's share the screen again.
I like to point one item out. Once you create a baseline and you share that with subs and subs receive it, they too can use that as a template as well. So if they're bidding to you on multiple projects, they can also templatize that, which saves them time as well.
Thank you for clarifying that. There is one of the questions that we have is, how does baseline help me manage relationships with subcontractors? So that really kind of goes hand in hand with that. How do you think it does help GCs manage their relationship with subs when it comes to baseline?
Absolutely. One of the questions that we get that gets answered oftentimes in our surveys with general contractors is that, hey, I request bids coming in from subs. Subs send me a bid. I go open it up and I look at it, and there's 1,001 questions that I have for the subs based on how they arrived at this number. And there's a lot of back and forth. How it can help is by you using the baseline to specifically tell subs what are the exact items they need to give you information on. For example, a particular trade, which particular cost items in that trade, how many quantities you think are required to complete that. You're just basically asking them that, hey, just go ahead and put in your pricing information. That's it. And submit it back to me. So when the sub receives that, you've saved them a lot of time, but you've also done yourself a favor. You know, when that bid comes back to you, what you're expecting to get and see. So the sub's going to appreciate the fact that you're specifically telling them what they need to bid on, what pricing that they need to give you per cost item. That saves them a lot of time. And then you get that bid back in a format that you can compare it against yours. And so you're saving yourself time, you're saving them time, and you'd be getting a much higher quality bid, which will help you say, okay, that particular sub is the one that I'm going to use on this project.
Awesome. And when you're building a baseline, you can send the line items, for example, without quantity, and let the subcontractor do the job if that's what you want as well.
Exactly. You can just create a baseline and say, these are the items that I want, and don't enter any quantities either, right? You can either put in your own custom when in the description and type, you can put your own custom stuff in there, send that to them. They'll just basically put in the quantity and the price in, and it auto calculates everything for them. So there's no mistakes being made when they're calculating, for example, items and taxes and things like that. Everything is automatically calculated. So you have confidence that the price that you're getting from them is accurate.
Awesome. Thank you, Darius. There are a couple more questions. One of them is, can subs send these to other GCs on the project?
No, a baseline coming from you will only go back to you. They cannot say that I want to send this to another sub. They can only choose you as the GC to send it to.
Great. That protects the relationship between GCs and subs in PlanHub. That's awesome. Another question is, how many bids can I compare in the comparison
Bid
section?
leveler, as many the subs will send to you. Also, maybe I'll share my screen and show you a little bit more on bid leveler. Again, let me know if we're running out of time, but
we have just a couple of minutes, but I'm sure what you're going to show is very interesting. So
one of the things that you can do is when those bids start coming in from subs, obviously you can scroll in here and see all the line items. But one of the things you can do, let's say, for example, if this bid came in and you looked at it and right off the bat, you can tell like, oh, I'm not going to accept that because it's just totally off. You can just basically click this hide button. You won't see it again, right? Other things that you could do, if there's multiple bids, and let's say, for example, some of them are very close to each other and you like one over the other, you can place them, you can rank them. Like this one is in first place. And then you can sort on, hey, show me only the bids that are in first place, show me the ones that I hid, show me the ones that are in second place, or show me all of them. So you can rank them, you can hide them, and if you have someone else in your team that you want to tell that, hey, I really like this bid from this particular sub a lot, you can click that, and this is company-wide. So if another one of your team members logs into PlanHub and goes at Bid Leveler and looks at that particular project, they can see that you like this particular bid. This is the one that stood out to you the most as being the bid that you're gravitating to more.
Perfect. And this is a premier feature for general contractors?
Yes, yeah, it is. It is a premier feature.
Perfect. Cool. Well, we are almost on time. If there are not any other questions, we're going to close up this webinar. We are excited that you guys could join us. And we just wanted you to know that because you have participated in this webinar, you are offered a promo code of 20% off if you decide to purchase PlanHub for General Contractors Premier. We will reach out to you to see if you have any questions or comments, and feel free to use this coupon if you decide to try Premier, which, as you can tell, we have put a lot of robust tools that help you manage your relationship with with subcontractors, and really streamline the process. Think about it. Yeah, go ahead, Darius.
I just wanted to plug one item in the Premier package for general contractors, which is our directory of subcontractors. And these are vetted subcontractors, but in the Premier package, you get access to over 240,000 subcontractors in PlanHub.
Right. So if you are wanting to compare how your list of subcontractors is doing with the market, or looking for new subcontractors in your area, or you're planning to expand to new areas where you want to work, PlanHub can be a very useful tool to do that. Remember, there's a promo code there, and we just wanted to thank you for your time and hope you have enjoyed learning about Baseline. We'll be available for questions. You also have access to your account managers. So we'll be talking. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.